Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. My NFL top 10 wide receivers going into 2021 with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, at NW Sports Fanatics. Now let's try this fucking again, man. I have to go through all these goddamn settings so often. The bit rate's too high. All right, the bit rate is too low. I'm hardwired into the computer. It fucking works. It doesn't work. I mean, it's been a fucking nightmare. I got good internet. I got like 200 up and 200 down. So I don't understand why I'm having all these fucking problems. All right. Today was a long day. I had a 40-foot semi-truck that I had to fucking unload, pretty much by myself with another crew of 4 or 5 people as I'm rolling it down the skate, with all these heavy-ass boxes. So today was a day that I was going to be saying, fuck it, today I need some rest, right? So now I'm going to go into the list because, even though I'm dead tired, 8, 9, 10-hour day on my feet, consistent moving boxes out of a semi for like 2 hours straight. I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my arms, but that's no excuse. You still got to grind when you have something to do, and that's important to you. So that's what I'm doing. My NFL top 10 wide receivers going into 2021 with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash the fucking like button if you haven't done it already. I know the people in the room that are watching, you haven't done it yet. Do it for your boy. It takes fucking 1 second. Do your boy a solid. If you can donate to your boy on here or on the Cash App, it would be guaranteed very, 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 very appreciative. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, at NW Sports Fanatics. So, Ryan Trick in the building, Tyreek minimum number 4. We'll see. Official Young Nola, yo, what to do? Lego my ego, it seems perfect now. Good. Young Nola out here thinking Mike T needs to be number 1. He does. He does. He definitely thinks Michael Thomas needs to be number 1. Other Saints fans will definitely be like, you know what? He might have been a number 1 receiver a couple years ago. Now with the uncertainty with Jameis Winston, I do think that he still is a top 10 wide receiver in this league. But in this particular list, it's based off health. It's based off age. It's based off statistics. It's going to be based off the productivity, the touchdowns, the yards. So I'll tell you what, right now, Michael Thomas is not on this list. Julio Jones is considered top 5, sometimes top 3, right? He's not on my list. And that doesn't mean I don't think Michael Thomas isn't a top 10 wide receiver or Julio Jones isn't a top 3, top 5, or top 10 wide receiver. But these receivers that I'm going to go over, I feel that are going to be more productive. They might be able to stay healthier throughout the season. And that's why I got to put those guys out of my list. And it's not the best 10 receivers going in to 2021, all right? The thing is, Nola, yeah, but, with Jameis Winston, I know he's going to get a lot of targets, right? But the chemistry from Drew Brees and Michael Thomas is one thing. Jameis Winston, the turnover machine, yeah, I know he got LASIK. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, he might end up getting 80 catches for 9 touchdowns, right? Or he might end up getting 80 catches for like 6 or 5, or, we don't really know what Jameis Winston is going to do. So again, Michael Thomas, I feel, is still not a top 5 wide receiver. He needs to prove it. I think he's somewhere between maybe 7, 8, 9, and 10. The one thing about Michael Thomas that I can say, even though I'm a Bucs fan, 50-50 balls, he might be number 1 in the league. 50-50 balls when the ball's in the air, who's better than Michael Thomas? I mean, it's going to be tough if you actually go and watch the film. He definitely fires on all cylinders. And it's tough to be able to be like, that guy's better than him on 50-50 balls. Because everyone, they call him slant boy, all right? And he only runs the slants, and he's great at it, all right? But 50-50 balls, he's great, but I don't have him on the list. And it's not that I'm hating. It's just based off my particular. D-Hop is pretty damn good at 50-50 balls too, but he's getting a little bit older. You know what I mean? So, but you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I got to give credit where credit's due. If you watch 50-50 balls with Michael Thomas, I mean, he comes down with it almost every time when it's like one-on-one coverage. D-Hop is pretty good too, but I'm going to go over this list, all right? So guys that didn't make my list that I definitely love, Julio Jones, even though he's a top 5 wide receiver, still in this league, 32, 33, a little older. I don't know if he's going to make it to the end of the season. DK Metcalf, Another guy that I probably could have had him, going through, around that 9-10 range, Adam Thielen, Calvin Ridley, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, maybe a guy like C.D. Lamb, end up, taking his game to the next level. Devonta Smith, all right, as another guy as a rookie that might be able to ball out and do some things. But these are my favorite top 10. All right, my favorite top 10 going into 2021. Not the top 10 wide receivers, but my favorite NFL top 10 based off productivity, touchdowns, yards, and what I think they're going to do this season. At number 10. Number 10 is a wide receiver that is going to take his game, I think, back to where it was a couple years ago. Justin Herbert to Keenan Allen. Remember that. I think they're going to go to the playoffs this season. You have the Miami Dolphins and the Chargers kind of as bubble teams. We know the Chiefs are going to be good. We know the Browns are going to be good. We know the Bills are going to be good. All right? But beyond that, Ravens, Colts, Titans, Patriots, Dolphins, Chargers. People are not going to be talking about Miami with Tua or the Chargers that much. But I think Keenan Allen is a top maybe 7 wide receiver in this league. You could argue he's like 5th, 6th, 7th, somewhere in that general range, typically with like Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, generally in that, in that stratosphere. But I think Keenan Allen, even though other targets, it's going to go to Austin Eckler at the running back position. But I really like Keenan Allen going into this season. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities, and we're going to see Justin Herbert take his game to the next level. He's the best route runner in football, period. If you end up watching, guys that run routes, all right, off the line of scrimmage, Devontae Adams is the best. Just like when we used to saw Doug Baldwin, with that little skip that they do right at the line of scrimmage. It's almost impossible to cover Devontae Adams. But when you look at Keenan Allen, once he gets into his break, one-on-one, it doesn't matter if you jam him on the line. His route running is so crisp, it's smooth, it's pure, and he's been the best route runner in the game for many, many years. That's pretty much big facts, all right? And I love Keenan Allen, good hands, good route runner. He's good in the red zone. He can do anything and everything that you want him to do. Number 10, Los Angeles Chargers, Keenan Allen. Larry Fitz is another one that I don't have in my top 10. He's a little older. You know what I mean? These are guys that I want to have good productivity, going into 2021. Number 9. Number 9 is going to surprise a lot of you guys, but you got to think every year, right, we have a rookie, someone that kind of shows out. Right? And maybe he does a little bit better than we think. We had a Justin Jefferson, right? We had a DK Metcalf. I think this year, all right, the guy that's going to be able to break out, not necessarily just Devonta Smith, but a guy that I think that's going to break out is going to be a guy named Jamar Chase. All right, number 9 from the Cincinnati Bengals. They decided to go with Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow because of the connection they had at LSU. All right, they could have went Penei Sewell. They should have went Penei Sewell. They didn't go that particular route, but I think it's going to be an opportunity for targets, yards, touchdowns, gritty. I mean, you're going to get the dances, you're going to get the celebrations, and I think there's a chance where we could see Jamar Chase, just like Justin Jefferson, climbing the ranks, all right, climbing the ranks, and they're both going to want to be top 5 wide receivers, all right? I know Justin Jefferson already has his eye on it, all right? To me, he's already a top 10 wide receiver in this league, in my personal opinion, okay? And I think he's going to get better and better and better, and I think he can climb into the top 5 sooner than later. Jamar Chase, with his athleticism and everything he can bring, even though Devonta Smith reminds me of kind of like a Marvin Harrison type of receiver, him and Jalen Hurts on the Eagles fly, are going to do big things. But I think Jamar Chase has more athletic ability, kind of like C.D. Lamb in last year's draft. All right, so I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities as long as Joe Burrow doesn't tear an ACL, MCL, PCL, you know what I mean? Like, they don't got a fucking line. Coaching's bad. All right, you still got T. Higgins, who's great. Joe Burrow had a nice connection with him last year. But Jamar Chase should be wide receiver number 1. A.J. Green is gone. We know he's on the Cardinals now. Lots of opportunities, and I think Jamar Chase is a guy that could get 5 to 10 touchdowns in the season, crack over 1,000 yards, and really make a big impact with the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. And if he does, and if they get any kind of defense and any kind of O-line play, maybe they can get 3rd place in the AFC North, and maybe it'll go Cleveland, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. Not trying to shit on Pittsburgh and say that they're a horrible team, but Pittsburgh, they don't look like they're going to be that great of a team to me. I mean, the offensive line isn't very good. Yeah, I know they got, the guy, all right, out of Alabama. We know Najee Harris. I believe in him. But with Juju and Big Ben getting older, Bud Dupree's no longer there. I don't really know what we're going to get from the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I know with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, I know that they're going to ball out, and it's going to be fun to watch. Number 9, Jamar Chase. Love him. Think he's going to have a great season, and I can't wait to watch him play in Cincinnati and on primetime. Big facts. Number 8. Number 8 is a wide receiver, arguably one of the most underrated wide receivers in this league, period, okay? We know Keenan Allen is one of the most underrated wide receivers as far as superstar wide receivers. Tyler, get to the door and lock it, very underrated. But the other superstar wide receiver that gets disrespected year in and year out is going to be my guy right here from the Chicago Bears. We're talking about Allen Robinson, all right? Allen Robinson needs who? Your boy to get in at quarterback, Justin Fields. I know that people want him to start week 1, but they play the Rams week 1. You don't want him to lose his confidence with, Aaron Donald giving the sack lunch. It's at 12 noon. You know what time it is? It's time for an Aaron Donald sack lunch. Yum, 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 yum. We don't want that. We want Justin Fields to be one of these studs in the NFL. All right, him to Allen Robinson is going to be special. Allen Robinson has put up so many stats with so many garbage quarterbacks over the years. He doesn't drop the ball in the red zone. He's definitely got good route running, good hands, and I would take him on Tampa Bay in a heartbeat. I really feel Allen Robinson, as far as sleeper wide receivers that are in the top 10, him and Keenan Allen, by far are the biggest sleepers that are stars in this league. And then the guys that are outside the top 10, I think it's got to be, Tyler, get to the door and lock it. I mean, they just don't get the respect that they deserve. But they always give you the stats. They always give you the yards. They always give you the productivity, all right? And again, with this list, all right, these aren't the top 10 wide receivers overall going into 2021. These are my favorite top 10 wide receivers going in to the season. All right, based off if I think they're going to complete the season, based off the yards, based off the touchdowns, based off age. So like I said again at the beginning of the video, Julio Jones is considered a top 3 wide receiver in most circles. Julio Jones is considered top 5 in most circles. I don't have him on this list. All right, and it's not like I'm disrespecting Julio. I just don't know if he can stay healthy for the full season. 32, 33 years old with Tannehill and A.J. Brown, less targets, but he can still put up 9, 10, 11 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards. It's very doable. Over 1,000, 70 catches, 80 catches, 9, 10, 11 touchdowns, easy. But I want to showcase some other wide receivers that I think are going to have a bigger impact than Julio Jones since he's getting a little bit older, but I'm not saying that he can't do it, all right? And that's big facts. Ryan Schrick in the building, Tyreek minimum number 4, Nola in the building, Lego My Ego in the building, Lego Mahomes and Brady, and it'll either be a dual player cover or 2 different covers for new gen and old gen games, new gen being Mahomes, old gen being Brady. It'll be interesting. I saw the GOAT conversation with the Madden. I did see that. 50-50 balls, D-Hop. Michael Thomas is one of the best, though. If you go back and watch the film, though, D-Hop, we already know with the famous clip with Kyler with the Hail Murray. Yeah, I know that. That was like 1-on-3. You know what I mean? D-Hop might be the best when it's 1-on-2, 1-on-3, 1-on-4. But when it's 1-on-1, you got to give Michael Thomas a little love. And I don't got Michael Thomas on this list either, even though I still think to this day he's somewhere in that 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 range. But with Jameis Winston, he's got to prove it that he can do it with another quarterback not named Drew Brees. And that's facts. D-Hop caught 25-75. Hey, I hear you. D-Hop is okay. He's more than okay, Nola. Come on now. Shrek, D-Hop definitely got better hands in the league right now if you don't count Larry Fitz. D-Hop's hands are good, but he's 1 year older. You know what I mean? And so you got to think the age is going to start to show a little bit for D-Hop and Julio Jones. They're great wide receivers. Don't get me wrong. But there's other guys that are going to be streaking up for top 5 status. And pretty soon, at some point, Julio will be out of the top 5, and D-Hop at some point will be at 5 or a little bit lower than 5, even though he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Lego My Ego, I think the Cardinals will shock everyone with the playoff spot this year. Not shocking at all. I got the Cardinals in the playoffs this season, and I said that earlier before. Jamison Meza just got here. What to do? Dylan in the building. Steelers in the building. What to do? So again, with my list, this is just my personal favorite list of my top 10 wide receivers going in the league. So again, Michael Thomas, not on my list. Julio Jones, not on my list. Nathan Dotson, I'm back. All right, I think I got it situated a little bit better here. If you haven't smashed the like button just yet, please do. My NFL top 10, my favorite top 10 wide receivers going into 2021 with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, smash the fucking like button, donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. And if you can donate either on here or on the Cash App, it would be much appreciated. And again, Julio, not on my list, even though he's top 10. Michael Thomas, top 10 receiver, not on my list. All right, DK Metcalf, Thielen, Ridley, Godwin. All right, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Smith, not on the list. But I still think they're fantastic receivers. Number 10, Keenan Allen. Number 9, Jamar Chase. Hey, I got to throw in that Justin Jefferson kind of name, that DK Metcalf name, because we always have those guys. Julio, the thing is, all right, Dre 2 times. All right, you know Julio's going to be a good wide receiver, but I'm not going to do it based off ESPN, Fox Sports. A.J. Brown's going to take a lot of those targets. Will Julio play the full season? That's what I'm wondering. Same thing with Michael Thomas. Are they going to be able to be healthy for the full season? Something tells me Julio and Michael Thomas are going to get banged up at some point. So I think some other guys are going to be more valuable throughout the season. Now, do I hope Michael Thomas and Julio play throughout the whole year? Yeah, Julio's a little bit older, but I just want to showcase some other guys that are going to be more valuable to their teams. Yards, touchdowns, and opportunities throughout the season might be better for some of these guys. I know Julio's going to be great. All right, there's no doubt about it. But being a little bit older, more targets going to Ferkser, more targets, going to A.J. Brown, maybe a little bit more handing the ball off to Derrick Henry. I'm kind of wondering what we're going to get. It might be 60 to 75 receptions, 1,100 yards, and then probably somewhere between 6 and 9 touchdowns. I don't know if he'll get double-digit touchdowns. Julio's great. Don't get me wrong, but I think that these guys have a little bit more upside as I'm going forward. And everyone's got their own opinion. Like I said, this isn't the top 10. This is my NFL top 10, my favorites going into the top 10 into 2021. There's a difference, all right? Number 10, Keenan Allen. Number 9, Jamar Chase. Number 8, Allen Robinson, all right? Ryan Trick. Julio doesn't get in the end zone enough. Agreed. That's the one knock on him. That's why he's never going to be considered as good as T.O., right? He's not going to be considered as high enough, all right, as, maybe Randy Moss or Jerry Rice. I love Julio. Don't get me wrong. And it's not like I'm trying to disrespect Julio Jones, you know what I mean? But I just don't know if he can stay healthy. I'm praying that he will, but I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to give you 15 touchdowns. I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to give you 100 catches. They're going to be a run-first team. Jameis Meza, $5, my boy. I cannot believe the Titans now have 2 top 10 receivers on the team. And let's not get this twisted right now. Julio Jones is a top 10 wide receiver. Michael Thomas, debatable. Julio Jones, to me, is somewhere between 3, 4, and 5 overall. All right? He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. All right? But I just kind of wonder with that age and obviously being a run-first team, A.J. Brown, I feel, is going to be the guy that's going to get a few more targets, especially if they double up, Julio a lot. So let's not get it twisted here, Jameis Meza and all the other Titans fans and all the people that are questioning my list. Everyone's going to have a list. But this is my favorites, based off the youth and based on longevity, yards, targets, that whole concept. So Michael Thomas and Julio could be in the top 10, but for this list, it's hard to do a top 10 list, you know what I mean? But again, this isn't the top 10 wide receivers. These are my top 10 favorites going into 2021. Number 10, Keenan Allen, because Justin Herbert, they're going to go to the playoffs. He's going to get back on track. Domination through and through. Number 9, Jamar Chase. All right, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it throughout the whole season because Joe Burrow might end up losing, his knees. He might end up just, breaking down because that offensive line is fucking trash and they should have went Penei Sewell. But I know they're going to hit the gritty and they're going to do a lot of touchdown dances, and Jamar Chase might be the next Justin Jefferson-ish kind of receiver. So I want to put him on the list because Justin Jefferson broke out, DK Metcalf broke out. It's either going to be Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase, but I think Jamar Chase got a little bit more athleticism in him. He's got a little bit more pop in his game, kind of like CeeDee Lamb. So I want to be able to put at least one rookie in the list. all right? And he's got to go out there and prove it. So it's not like I'm saying Jamar Chase is the 9th best wide receiver in the league, but I got him number 9 because I think he is going to be very productive, and it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up getting, 6 to 9 touchdowns. He might even crack double digits. He might even, he might crack double digits this season. So you got to do that. So I understand I have no problem at all because it's your list. Hey, man, you know what I mean? But everyone's going to have their opinion, you know what I mean? And that's why I do these things, okay? Number 10, Keenan Allen. Number 9, Jamar Chase. Number 8, Allen Robinson. But we need Justin Fields in there as soon as possible. I want him to get in there and to be able to have that good chemistry. Number 7, A.J. Brown from the Tennessee Titans, Jameson Meza. I think A.J. Brown, there's a certain couple guys that that are going to break into the top 5. 2 of them, to me, easily are Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown. I know DK Metcalf is great, but personally, I like Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown better. I think they run routes better, all right? They got better hands, even though you got the physical aspect of DK Metcalf, just that imposing his will. He looks like an American gladiator out there, but he has too many drops for me. And he needs to be able to learn to run more routes, but he's still a fantastic wide receiver, DK Metcalf. You could put him as a top 10, top 12 wide receiver as well. But A.J. Brown, I have on the list instead of Julio because I think he is going to get over double-digit touchdowns. I think the yards are going to be higher. He's not going to get doubled as much because Julio is going to get that, right? Ferkser is going to have a pretty big year as well. But A.J. Brown, it seems like when him and Tannehill play together, they have the chemistry, and they're going to be able to score touchdowns on almost every single game. Like if you watch A.J. Brown last season, every game with him and Tannehill, it's like 1 or 2 touchdowns almost guaranteed. It's very rare that A.J. Brown does not get into the end zone, and he can make game-breaking plays. If Julio was a couple years younger, then I could have both of them on the list. But again, it's not like I'm biased and I got Mike Evans and Godwin in my top 10. I think Chris Godwin, personally, you could argue is a top 10 wide receiver, but I didn't put him in the list. But like I said, for me, as far as young wide receivers that are exciting to watch, that I know that are cracking the top 5 overall sooner than later, when we get guys like D-Hop and Julio out of the top 5, guess who's taking their place? Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown. And that's big facts. A.J. Brown's got everything that you would want in a wide receiver. And especially when a guy goes 2nd round, 3rd round, A.J. Brown, not being like a first rounder, you definitely get the swag and the chip on the shoulder. I absolutely love A.J. Brown, number 7. And again, no disrespect to Julio, no disrespect to Michael Thomas or, DK or Thielen or Ridley. I mean, Godwin, there's just so many guys. But these are my favorites based on going into this year, right? I know Keenan Allen, Chargers, they're going to make the playoffs. Jamar Chase, no playoffs, but he's going to ball out, and he's going to be the next superstar wide receiver in this league if Joe Burrow can stay healthy. Allen Robinson, the most underrated wide receiver that's a top 10 wide receiver, probably in the last 5 years besides Keenan Allen. Never gets the respect, but if we get Justin Fields and Allen Robinson on TV, it's going to be must-see TV, and he'll finally start getting the credit, especially if the Bears end up going, into the playoff hunt. A.J. Brown at number 7, stud. I mean, I could have put him a little bit higher, but I just think at this point with Julio Jones being older, I trust A.J. Brown more than Julio Jones. I just don't know if Julio can stay healthy for the full season, but overall, A.J. Brown, top 10 wide receiver. Julio, top 10. Yes, still cannot believe the Titans now have 2 top 10 wide receivers on the team, and that is true. So true, A.J. Brown is a beast. Yes, he does score at least 1 touchdown every game for the Titans. And you know why I know that? Jameson Meza, because I'm a fantasy football guru, and I always draft A.J. Brown if I can. Had him on the team last year. So obviously I watch a lot of Titans games, and I know this. Right? Because he scored for me almost every single week. Like when he doesn't score, he still typically puts up like 80 yards. So I'm still getting like 8 points, but you'd rather get, 80 yards and a touchdown. So you're sitting at like, 15, or more, or 20. And he has those game-breaking plays where sometimes he'll end up getting the game-winning touchdown. A.J. Brown is more valuable than Julio Jones. All right? He is the next up-and-coming superstar wide receiver not named Justin Jefferson or maybe Jamar Chase. That's big facts. Number 7, A.J. Brown. Number six, I could have put at number 5. All right, if I was truly a Buccaneers bandwagon. I don't even have Chris Godwin on the list, but I got to put this guy on my list, and I wanted to put him at 5, but I decided to put someone else that I think that will have a breakout year. At number 6, my boy, Super Bowl champ from Tampa Bay, number 13 from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mike Evans. This guy is a stud in the red zone. He never really got the respect that he deserves. He definitely has been a top 7 wide receiver for many, many years. He's only one of 2 wide receivers to start his career off first 5, 6, 7 years with 1,000 yards, and a lot of them with garbage quarterbacks like Jameis Winston. Him and Tom Brady got on track, and I think it's going to be a bigger year for him coming into this year as we're going for 2. He always gets disrespected. But once we won the Super Bowl, now I feel when you watch him on prime time and you see what he can do in the red zone from the 20 to the 20, how great of a player he was. Was it Mike Evans that made Johnny Football at Texas A&M, or was it Johnny Football that made Mike Evans? And clearly we see Mike Evans made Johnny Football, but Johnny Football, Money Manziel, still was one of my favorites of all time. Love that Texas A&M team, especially when they ended up beating Alabama, one of my best memories for college football. I absolutely love, and I'm so thankful that they did not draft Johnny Manziel and they drafted Mike Evans, the best wide receiver, arguably in our history. Chris Godwin is great, and we've had, Keyshawn and Keenan McCardell, Joe Jurevicius. We've had wide receivers, through and through. But Mike Evans, hands down, is the best wide receiver we have ever had and probably will ever have in our history, unless we get someone on that level. Number 6 from Tampa Bay, the Champs is here, Mike Evans. Number 5. But before we get into that, my NFL top 10. These are my favorites, not the top 10 overall. Julio is a top 10 wide receiver, not on my list. All right, Michael Thomas is a top 10 wide receiver, not on my list. These are guys that are going to be active. They're going to produce. They're going to probably play the full season. Julio, Mike Thomas, I have kind of an itch that maybe they'll get hurt, and I think that the opportunities for these guys, these 10, will be a little bit better than maybe Michael Thomas. Not because Michael Thomas can't do it. It's because he got Jameis Winston instead of Drew Brees. And it's not like Julio can't do it, because I love Ryan Tannehill. He's my favorite quarterback in the league that's not a superstar quarterback. Big facts, Ryan Tannehill. But when you're 32, 33, I seen him in practice. I seen him on Twitter. He looks great, right? But these guys might be able to have better stats and more opportunities based off the doubles that Julio might be getting. And I think A.J. Brown is going to be the better wide receiver on that team, and that's big facts. Number 10, Keenan Allen. Number 9, Jamar Chase. Number 8, Allen Robinson. Number 7, A.J. Brown. Number 6, Mike Evans. Now let's get into the cream of the crop, my top 5. And I don't even have any Buccaneers up there. So don't come at me like I'm some biased motherfucker that I got Chris Godwin and Mike Evans in the top 5, all right? Because I don't. At number 5, this is my favorite young wide receiver, not named A.J. Brown. I know after Jamar Chase, all right, comes in the league, and if he can stay healthy with Joe Burrow, I know that Jamar Chase is going to be on my list as one of my favorites, all right, just like Justin Jefferson, all right? But this is going to be something where this guy, 1,400 yards, right? He broke the rookie record. Could have probably had a little bit more. I know he can get at least 1,400 yards, if not more. If he does that, he's going to break Odell Beckham's record for the most yards in the first 2 seasons. This is the next superstar wide receiver that's going to crack the top 5 overall once D-Hop and Julio get older and get out. A.J. Brown and this guy are going in. And at number 5, we got the Minnesota Vikings skull, Justin Jefferson. Now, am I saying Justin Jefferson right now is better than Mike Evans? No. But I have him one spot higher because I know the impact that he's going to have for Minnesota. All right, so if Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson can get things going, it's not about them. It's about the offensive line and the defense. And it depends if Aaron Rodgers stays on the Packers or goes to Denver, the Raiders, or the Dolphins, all right? We don't really know what's going to happen if he's going to hold out or not. But I know Justin Jefferson, based on the film that I watched, he's a game breaker. He's a guy that can change the whole aspect of the football quarter in just one reception. I absolutely love Justin Jefferson hitting the gritty. He's great. And pairing him up with Adam Thielen, they got one of the best duos in the league. Number 5, my boy, as I'm sweating over here, 100 degrees in the studio, Justin Jefferson. All right, Saints, you should have drafted him, but you guys don't know how to draft. And that's through and through, Nola. You guys had opportunities, to get Asante Samuel Jr. You guys had opportunities to get wide receivers, and you didn't. And you could have, all right, you could have had Tom Brady if Drew would have retired, but you didn't. And the bottom line is Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl, and you can only wish him one until you get your next quarterback, and it's not Jameis Winston. That's facts. Number 5, Justin Jefferson. Number 4, I feel this wide receiver tore up the league last season, all right? Tore up the league last season, all right? He can get the most yards. He can get the most touchdowns. He can get pretty much the most anything and everything, all right? And the reason that I say this is now Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills finally got their true number one wide receiver. And who is it? It's my boy, Stefon Diggs. Now, Stefon Diggs is a guy that I feel that could do exactly what he did last season, if not more. You know Josh Allen's got Cole Beasley. They still don't have a running game. You know they're going to go to Diggs, and Diggs is one of those guys that produces week in and week out. So as you can see, if you're talking about targets, you're talking about yards, yak yards, you know, you're talking about every single... Nola, stop spamming the fucking feed, bro. No one cares about JJ came from Louisiana. Nobody cares that 2017 was your best draft. You didn't win a Super Bowl, all right? You had your one a long time ago. No one cares that you got AK-41. No one cares you got Lattimore. No one cares about Marcus Williams. Come on, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why are you spamming the chat, my guy? Why are you spamming the chat? Number 4, we're talking about Stefon Diggs. Finally, Josh Allen was able to improve his accuracy issues, going forward. And I absolutely love that they got that wide receiver. You went from seeing Josh Allen with a lot of potential to finally hitting the potential and getting that true number one wide receiver. But until they get that stud running back, that Josh Jacobs, that Jonathan Taylor from the Colts, the Josh Jacobs from the Raiders, or maybe a Najee Harris from the Steelers. Until they get that, I just don't think the Bills are going to be able to beat the Browns or the Chiefs. So I still think that they're the third best team in the AFC, but no matter what Diggs does, it might not be enough. But what I do know is Diggs is another guy that gets disrespected in top 10 talk. A lot of people don't think he's a top 10 wide receiver. Go back and look at the film. Go back and look at the yards. Go back and look at the touchdowns. And look at the opportunities that Josh Allen has. He's going to go to Stefon Diggs a lot. He was great with, obviously, Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen, right? But it was all about Stefanski. Stefanski was the OC on Minnesota to be able to make him that way. Now you see Stefanski in Cleveland and what he's doing for the wide receivers and, the rest of the receiving core tight end group now. They hand the ball off a lot, but Stefanski's great, and there's a reason why. There's a reason why moving forward, Stefon Diggs needs to get more love. Number 4, Stefon Diggs. So again, this list is my favorite top 10 wide receivers going in. And there's a factors of age, Julio Jones, shit quarterback, Jameis Winston, where there's reasoning why I don't have Julio and Michael Thomas in my top 10 list. Is Julio Jones a top 5 wide receiver? Yeah. Is Julio Jones a top 3 wide receiver? Yeah. Right? But I don't have him on this list because I don't know if Julio is going to stay healthy for the full season. I don't know if Michael Thomas is going to have that chemistry all season. You know what I mean? With Jameis Winston, they might. You know what I mean? But I think there's a better chance that Michael Thomas and Julio have under 10 touchdowns, right? They'll probably crack 1,000 yards, somewhere between probably 70 to 85 catches, if I had to take a guess, all right? But that's kind of my feeling. But these guys could have more. Keenan Allen at number 10. Number 9, Jamar Chase, paired up with his buddy Joe Burrow from LSU. Number 8, Justin Fields to Allen Robinson. Number 7, A.J. Brown. That's the Titan receiver that's going to ball out this season for sure. Every game he plays in, it seems like he fucking scores. Number 6, Mike Evans from Tampa Bay. Tom Brady will go to Godwin and AB and Gronk and O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate, but let's not sleep on Mike Evans. He is a stud. Number 5, Double J, Justin Jefferson. Him and A.J. Brown are going to be creeping into that top 5 overall once Julio and D-Hop go off the list. Number 4, Stefon Diggs. He's going to get opportunities. He's going to get yards. He's going to get touchdowns. And if they're going to try to get past the Chiefs and the Browns, you better believe Josh Allen and Diggs need to take their games to the next level. Number 3. Now this kind of goes back to where we think the list is going to go. And like I said, with this wide receiver at number 3, in most circles right now, he would be number 2. But there's 2 guys that I like right now more than this guy. This guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's been considered the number 1 or number 2 wide receiver almost every single year. And I'm not putting him at 3 saying he's going to take a step back in his game. They got Kyler. All right? They got J.J. Watt. The Cardinals are making the playoffs this season. At number 3, even though he might be the second best wide receiver in the league, I'm going to go DeAndre Hopkins. He's getting a little bit older, like Julio Jones. But I think I trust him more at this point to make it through the full season. He's going to have a fantastic year. You got James Atemene-Akana. You got weapons at running back with Chase Edmonds and James Atemene-Akana. Kyler's got weapons at wide receiver through and through. You got J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones, Budda Baker. I think this is the year that the Cardinals make the playoffs. So that means the Rams get in with Stafford, all right? The Cardinals get in with Kyler. And I think maybe even the San Francisco 49ers with Trey Area with an easy schedule might make it over Seattle. So even though that's the best division in football, Seattle might be the team that goes like 8-9 or just barely misses it, but they still got, Danger Russ. So they still got to kind of give that guy credit because as long as Danger Russ is there, they're always going to be in the running. But this might be the year that they take a step back. Saints might take a step back. Seattle might take a step back, all right? And, we got to kind of wait and see what happens. We got to go through the games and the schedule, see the health, see what, Russell Wilson does with no offensive line and kind of a booty defense. And we got to see what Jameis Winston does with a fantastic O-line, good coach, good weapons at wide receiver with, MT, Michael Thomas, AK-41's great, top 2 running back in the league. But what about the defense and all the players that they lost? I'm kind of interested to see that aspect of things. And then for them, not having a true number 2 wide receiver. So if Michael Thomas goes down with an injury, what's going to happen? You can't count on Jameis Winston winning games for you by himself. And you can't hand the ball off to AK-41 40 times to win games. So that's my concern. The lack of depth with the Saints and the Seahawks might be their demise this season. But once they end up improving that, maybe Russell goes somewhere else if they don't improve the O-line and the defense, right? Or if the Saints get their next stud quarterback after the Drew Brees era, and it's not Jameis and it's not Taysom Hill, it's got to be someone else, then they can get right back in the running of being a great football team again, and that's big facts. Number 3, DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to be a big reason. Him, Christian Kirk, all the pieces. And then you might be able to get A.J. Green to revitalize his career with Kyler Murray. I'm very excited to be able to see what the Cardinals do, and I think this is the year they are going to take the next step. Number 3, DeAndre Hopkins. Number two is in the thumbnail. I did want to put him at number 1, all right? This guy is going to dominate through and through. He might be the best game breaker in the NFL right now, and we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and I'm not Le'Veon Bell talking shit saying I'm never playing for Andy Reid again. If you guys saw that on Twitter, just because he didn't play in the last 2 playoff games, always blaming someone else besides yourself, but I know someone that doesn't. Honey Badger, he called him out. We're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, and we're talking about Tyreek the Freak Hill. You could legitimately argue right now that if I was going to be able to pick players, would I want Tyreek over D-Hop right now? Yes. Would I want Tyreek over Diggs or Jefferson or Evans? I mean, you could literally argue right now that Tyreek the Freak Hill might be the most coveted wide receiver based off him being the fastest player in the NFL, a guy that can open the game up and score 1 or 2 touchdowns every single game. I absolutely love Tyreek the Freak Hill. Started off as like a kick returner, punt returner, and has really stepped his game up and changed the way that we see the game. And not only was he a special teams guy, he now has improved to be a top 3 wide receiver in this league. No disrespect to Julio Jones, no disrespect to D-Hop and these other guys, but I think based off his age and with Mahomes, right? And obviously with Andy Reid and Bieniemy and the play calling and Travis Kelce, I mean, this guy might be one of the most unstoppable wide receivers. And it's not just because he's fast. He's got good hands. He can go up and get the 50-50 balls as well. He's athletic. He's one of those guys you wouldn't want to line up one-on-one. Very hard to stop, and I would take him on Tampa Bay in a heartbeat. Number 2, Tyreek the Freak Hill. Now that leaves my number 1 wide receiver. So if any of y'all are in the room right now, and if I haven't said this name at number 1 wide receiver, because right now I feel he is the number 1 wide receiver, part of it is Aaron Rodgers, all right, but part of it is just him developing his game over the last 2 to 3 years. Number 1 on my NFL top 10 wide receivers, and this may change if Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver. Now, if Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, then Davante Adams, who I have at number 1 right now, will slide down to probably number 2 or number 3. It'll probably go Tyreek the Freak Hill, D-Hop, and then Davante Adams. I'd probably have to slide him down a little bit, and Tyreek probably would be my number 1 at that point. But number 1 from the Green Bay Packers, the organization that doesn't have a fucking owner, Kuta Kuntz, is fucking everything up. and LaFleur. We're talking about the Aaron Rodgers saga, but we got the Packers stud wide receiver Davante Adams. Contract year. You're going to be going possibly to a new team. If Aaron Rodgers goes somewhere else, he can run good routes. Off the line with the little skip that he has, like Doug Baldwin. Unstoppable. Great route runner. Great hands. One-on-one. You can't guard him. And like I said, he's proven year in and year out, he can get 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I mean, if anyone can get close to 18 to 22 touchdowns in like a year, back-to-back years, back-to-back-to-back years, there's only a couple guys that I think that could put up monster numbers like that. Tyreek the Freak Hill is one, right? And Davante Adams is another, just based off their age right now. And that's what I'm thinking. So no disrespect to Julio Jones, DK Metcalf, Adam Thielen, Calvin Ridley, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, Devonta Smith, the other rookie that I think is going to do good for the Eagles. CeeDee Lamb is another stud wide receiver also. But these are the guys that I'm very excited to see as we go in to 2021. And again, these aren't the best top 10. These are my favorite top 10 wide receivers as I'm fucking sweating here, just sweating my balls off in here in this fucking studio. It's like 100 fucking degrees in here. No AC. But like I said, everyone's going to have a list, but based off health, based off age, based off route running, based off opportunities, based off targets. I just think these guys are going to be able to put up better numbers than maybe a Julio or a Michael Thomas, even though I think that both of those guys are top 10 wide receivers. Some people will think Michael Thomas is not even a top 10, but you can't necessarily just go from number 1 all the way to like number 15. I mean, he obviously is slant boy. We know that. 50-50 balls, he's great. But we need to see what Jameis Winston is going to do before we can get Michael Thomas back into a top 5 consideration. Because right now, I think most people have him somewhere between 8 and probably 13, right? And he was number 1 a couple years ago, right? But he's got to prove that he can do it with a shit quarterback like Jameis Winston, and that's facts. Number 10, Keenan Allen. Number 9, Jamar Chase. That's going to be my surprise one. I definitely could have put Julio there at 9 or DK Metcalf or Thielen or Ridley or Godwin, but something tells me if he stays healthy for the full season with Joe Burrow, he's going to be like Justin Jefferson. So I got to be able to take a risk and put a guy there that I think that has that potential, that athleticism like CeeDee Lamb, and that overall knack and smell for the end zone like Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, LSU connection. I can't wait to see him. Number 9, Jamar Chase. Number 8, Allen Robinson, the most underrated superstar wide receiver in the league. If Justin Fields gets in there, him and Allen Robinson are going to pop off, and they might even be able to make a wild card. Big facts. Number 7, the wide receiver that I like, other than Julio, A.J. Brown. If you watch the Titans, he literally scores every single game. To me, the youth is on his side. He can run the routes. He's got good hands. And at this point in his career, I like A.J. Brown better than Julio Jones, and that's just me personally. Maybe you guys would like Julio more, but at 32, 33, I'd rather go with an A.J. Brown that's under 26 years old and a guy that's going to be able to keep balling out. Number 7, A.J. Brown. Number 6, Tampa Bay's very own. Number 13, the legend, Mike Evans. In the red zone, he's a monster. From the 20s to the 20s, he's unstoppable. He's a guy like Chris Godwin and AB, really helped Tampa Bay and Brady make things happen. Mike Evans, the best wide receiver Tampa Bay has ever had, at number 6. Number 5, we're going to go with my boy, Double J, Justin Jefferson. He's going to ball out this year, probably more than 1,400 yards. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and Dalvin Cook. But it's about that offensive line and defense. They started to improve that, but can they make the playoffs? It might be up to Kirk Cousins to get Justin Jefferson the goddamn football, as well as Adam Thielen. I'm looking for a breakout season from Justin Jefferson, even though he should have been in consideration for Offensive Rookie of the Year with Justin Herbert. But he broke the record for rookies, 1,400 yards. This year, he's going to have more. Big facts. Number 5, Justin Jefferson. Number 4, Target King himself. And we're not talking Tiger King. We're talking Target King. We're talking Stephon Diggs from the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen's number 1. You know, he can lead the league in yards. He can lead the league in touchdowns. He can lead the league in yak yards. He can lead the league in a lot of categories. He's slept on, just like Keenan Allen and Allen Robinson. Stephon Diggs is a monster, and it's obviously awesome to see Buffalo get on the map and get some pub. But until they get a running game, they're not going to be able to compete, in my opinion, with Cleveland, with all the defensive additions they've made, as well as getting guys like JOK in the draft, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, great, and then Troy Hill. I mean, they made so many improvements on that defense and offense. It's going to be fucking crazy, as well as the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be tough to hang with them as well. Stephon Diggs, stud, Got him at number 4. Number 3, DeAndre Hopkins. Kyler Murray knows what he got with D-Hop when we saw the Hail Murray last season, but we need some more consistency from Chase Edmonds, more consistency from James the Terminator Conner, but we really need consistency from the offensive line and the defense. So now you got J.J. Watt, you got Chandler Jones, Chandler Jones, and Budda Baker. I got the Cardinals making the playoffs. Look for D-Hop to have another great Pro Bowl year. Number 3, DeAndre Hopkins. Number 2, the most unstoppable wide receiver, hands down, week in and week out, all right? And he probably will be my number 1 if Aaron Rodgers gets traded, but for now, I got him on the thumbnail. Fastest player in the NFL, a guy that can give you double-digit scores in almost every single game. He's a threat at special teams and wide receiver. This guy is a freak. Tyreek, the Freak Hill, at number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. And at number one, Aaron Rodgers made Davante Adams early in his career, but Davante Adams started to work really hard with his route running, his break at the line, his little skip at the line. You can't jam him. You can't guard him. And he's just as deadly as Tyreek the Freak Hill. Based off Tyreek and Davante Adams' age, their speed, their football knowledge. No knock on D-Hop. He's just a little bit older, all right? But Davante Adams and Tyreek the Freak Hill, in my opinion, right now today, they are the 2 best wide receivers in the league right now. That's who I would want on Tampa Bay if I didn't have Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, and I can't wait to see what they do. And I hope Aaron Rodgers comes back for Davante Adams' sake, but don't be surprised if he doesn't. I don't know if they're going to trade him or if he's going to retire or sit out, but, if he has a choice between going to the Raiders or going back to Green Bay, he might say, fuck you, Kunta Kuntz, fuck you, LaFleur, and just come back. Because if you go to the Raiders, right, you're probably not going to get to the Super Bowl because the defense has too many holes. Yeah, you got Darren Waller, Raiders. You got Josh Jacobs, Raiders. Offensive line, issues. Defense, issues. Gruden, Mayock, Gruden won the Super Bowl for me. But if he goes to Denver, they have more weapons there that they would have a better chance of making an AFC championship game with Rodgers. If Rodgers goes to Miami, they could make an AFC championship game. There's too many holes in the Raiders roster right now. So if he goes there, he might say, you know what, I got a better chance of making an NFC championship game again with the Packers, even though I hate everyone in that organization as far as the coaches and the GM and all the, ownership pieces. He might like the players, but he definitely has issues with Kunta Kuntz and LaFleur and the rest of the organization since they don't have a majority owner. It's, owned by the people, the shareholders. So Davante Adams at number 1. My favorite NFL top 10 wide receivers going into 2021. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash the fucking like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. So let me go back in the list here because I would assume that Nola is spitting some Saints garbage. That isn't true. Brainwashing the people that are in the room and making them dumber second by second. Come on, Nola. You got to be a little humble with the squad. Not the same team as the last 4 to 5 years. Let me go back and see what's going on. Julio, JJ's going to be dynamite for the Vikings. Justin Jefferson agreed. Let's see. Brandon Moreno make history on Saturday. Adventures with AG. What to do? Let's see. Nathan Dotson. He was top 10 even on Minnesota. Stephon Diggs, big facts. Yes, he was. Cam, says Michael Thomas. I think he is a top 10 wide receiver, but he doesn't make my list because Jameis Winston, I don't know what's going to happen there. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're going to be able to get double-digit touchdowns and get him 80 receptions. I mean, they don't really have anyone else, but can he stay healthy for a full season? That's yet to be seen. They don't have a number 2. Emmanuel Sanders is no longer there. Jared Cook's not there. AK-41 is there, right? But, I mean, who else do you got? I mean, you got 2 options there, AK and Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas goes down. I mean, you're fucked. You lose Michael Thomas, and you got Jameis Winston at quarterback, even with an AK-41, a great O-line, a great coach, and a defense that lost some pieces, it's going to be tough. It's going to be honestly tough for them to go back to where they were, and that's facts. Let's see here. Teddy Bridgewater did with Michael Thomas. Jameis Winston watched Drew Brees all year. Cam, but Jameis Winston, did you watch him on Tampa Bay? It doesn't matter, you know what I mean, that he had the LASIK. That's going to help, but it's about decision-making and having the football IQ. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't turn the football over. He's a game manager. Jameis Winston can sling it, right? But when you sling it, You're prone to turnovers. I mean, you don't go 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, and think you're going to make the playoffs, even if you get 5,000 yards. You don't win football games by turning the fucking football over 30 times. So saying that Teddy Bridgewater and Jameis Winston are similar shows that you don't know football, bro. You know what I mean? Teddy Bridgewater might not be as skilled as Jameis Winston, right, based off the arm ability, but Teddy doesn't turn the ball over. Do I like Teddy Bridgewater? No. All right? I don't like him. All right? Do I like Jameis Winston? Fuck no. All right? And all the Saints fans that are defending Jameis Winston when you guys were talking shit about him when they were on my team, all right? You know, it's funny because now he's your quarterback, and then you're going to see what I saw the last 3 to 4 years prior to Tom Brady. The roster was pretty much the same. You know, I got Tristan Wirfs, Antoine Winfield Jr., and then I went from a garbage football team, you know, to win 5, 6, 7 games, you know, to a team to win 11 or 12 games and then win a Super Bowl. So if you don't turn the ball over, 40 touchdowns, 12 picks, all right? Right? Or would you rather have 33 touchdowns and 30 picks? You tell me. Facts. He won 6 straight for the Saints, but okay. But when he won 6 straight for the Saints, why was it? It wasn't necessarily because of him. He was a game manager, Cam. All right? It was the offensive line. It was AK-41. It was the defense. And it was because he didn't turn the ball over. So before you start spitting off that you think Teddy Bridgewater and Jameis Winston are these like superhero quarterbacks, go back and watch the film, my guy. You know, you might be a Saints fan, but I watch just as much as Saints film than you do, and a lot of Saints fans do. Teddy Bridgewater wasn't the big reason that they won 6 straight or when Drew Brees went out, all right? He was part of the reason because he didn't turn over the football, but it was mostly the defense. If you go back and watch the games, it was AK-41, and it was the defense that rallied a lot of those wins. Facts. So if you're going to come at me, you better know what you're talking about. NOLA. Cam, bro, man, I'm excited for the Saints this year. We're going to see how they're going to be. They're not going to be good, and that's facts. That don't mean you're good, Cam. Let people doubt the NFL commentators definitely doing it. Well, there's a reason why people are doubting him because you guys don't have the same fucking roster. You don't have depth. You don't have Emmanuel Sanders. You don't have Jared Cook, all right? You don't have Trey Hendrickson, T-Rex. You don't have Janoris Jenkins. But do you know that, Nola? See, you have to be able to know what you're talking about. You're not going to be better than you were last year, and especially you don't have Drew Brees. Come on, my guy. Use the brain, all right? The team isn't the same. You have a run for 4 to 5 years, right? And then you have to rebuild. That's how it typically works if you're not the Patriots. 4 to 5 years, you have your run like the Legion of Boom did, you know, Colin Kaepernick, you know, and Harbaugh did with the Niners. 4 to 5 great years, and then you have to rebuild. You can't just lose Drew Brees, you know, the face of the franchise, one of the most important pieces to NO culture, right? And then think that you're going to be better or just as good. And you lost defensive pieces and offensive pieces on top of that. Come on, my guy. Think about it. Use your brain. Stop being delusional. And it's not being a hater, all right? It's not being a hater. It's facts, all right? Because anyone that's not a Saints fan, that's biased, will tell you. And even Saints fans will tell you it's not the same. It's not the same. You got to be able to understand that. Let's see here. Lattimore lockdown, Tyreek the Freak Hill. One game don't mean shit. You guys could beat me twice in the regular season, but you lost the most important game in the playoffs. It's all about winning when it counts, all right? So anyone can win in the regular season, all right? But Lattimore, you know, had a great rookie season, but he's kind of declined these last couple years. So they're probably going to get him the money or let him walk, all right? But he still needs to work hard to get back, you know, to being in good graces, you know, with the rest of the league, all right? Demario Davis, all right? Cameron Jordan, those guys are better than Lattimore, all right? Lattimore gets burned a lot too. You know, he might be able to lock up Mike Evans and talk shit and throw some punches, but, you know, game in and game out, it's not like Lattimore is a top 5 corner in the league because he's not, and that's facts. He used to be, you know, on that cusp of top 5, but he's got to work really hard to get back into that consideration. That's facts. He said, I ain't no hate. It's just Bridgewater ain't done nothing for me to think that he's good. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Bridgewater or Drew Lock. I mean, if the Broncos fans are really excited about something, they want to be able to get Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson because you're not going to win games with Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater. Those guys are just plain old average. Facts. Let's see here. Bridgewater is booty juice. Jurassic Ninja in the building. What to do? I think Robert Woods could be a top 10. The Dune does it all. Not a top 10. Cooper Kupp could be in there too, but those are 2 other guys that are very underrated wide receivers in this league. I would say Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and Tyler Get to the Door and Lockett are the 3, you know, wide receivers that are outside the top 10. They're somewhere between 11 and 20 that don't get the love. You know, but I don't know if Robert Woods could be a top 10, but with Matthew Stafford there, and if they win the NFC West, there's a chance that he could put up top 10 numbers, but I don't think anyone's ever going to give Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp the love to say, yes, they are top 10. They're just kind of, they're not going to get the love or the pub. Even if you guys get to the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship game, the Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp are kind of like number 2 options. There could be a wide receiver like a Devontae Adams or a Tyreek the Freak Hill that could be the star number 1, like when you guys had Todd Gurley, right? Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, probably Cooper Kupp would be the number 1. Robert Woods would be the 2, right? And so you could be like 1A, 1B. But Matthew Stafford, can put the football in the right spots, to give them top 10 stats. But they're never going to be considered top 10 wide receivers, unfortunately. But I do love both of those guys, and I'm really rooting for the Rams to make the NFC Championship game. And if they don't, get to that point, it'll be a shame. And if they end up beating my Bucks, Rams in the Super Bowl, hey, I'd love that. I definitely would be, very excited to see what they could do, with the squad. And that's facts. So let's go over this one last time with my list. All right. My NFL top 10 wide receivers. And these are my favorites, not necessarily the top 10. Julio, not on my list. All right. Michael Thomas, not on my list. All right. But I think that these guys, Michael Thomas is not on the list because I don't know about Jameis Winston. Julio's not on my list, even though he's a top 3, top 5 wide receiver. He might not make it to the end of the year. All right. And there's going to be more targets for guys like A.J. Brown and some of these other guys. So there's other guys that I like. Now, Julio overall is number 3, number 4, number 5. But I want to give love to some other guys. You know what I mean? So Julio, DK Metcalf, Thielen, Ridley, Godwin, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Smith, right? Sorry, you know what I mean? I think that some of those are in the top 10, but I want to give love to the others. Rams, Bucks, NFC Championship game. That's what I'm happening. That's what I'm hoping for. Let's see here. Who do you think the should start for the Washington football team? Fitzpatrick or Heineke? Fitzpatrick. Let Fitzpatrick get the job at first, and then once he, goes 2-3, you can put Heineke in there. Heineke played good against the Buccaneers, but you're going to go Fitzmagic, just based on he's never been to the playoffs. Right, I believe. So if they can do it with that amazing defense, Antonio Gibson, scary Terry McLaurin, you got Curtis Samuel from the Panthers, let Fitzmagic finally get some, pub under his name with the fucking 20 kids that he has. You know what I'm saying? The only person that has more kids than him might be Phillip Rivers. But Ryan Fitzmagic deserves to get to the playoffs and try to get a playoff win. So I would go definitely Ryan Fitzmagic. Sometimes Fitzmagic plays great. Sometimes he plays bad. But he won't have to force the issue. The NFC East isn't very good. Dallas has got a good offense. If Dak can stay healthy, shitty defense, right? The Eagles, we don't really know what they have. You know what I mean? They might be 4th in the division, sad to say. All right? Washington football team's got a great defense, above average offense. And then the Giants probably have the most balance on the offense and defense, but they got Danny Dimes, and we don't really know if he can be the guy, and they might have to go somewhere else. So the NFC East is up for grabs. But in my opinion, these guys are the ones that I'm looking for yards, touchdowns, opportunities, targets, and guys that I feel that could play the whole season without getting hurt. Michael Thomas and Julio, something tells me they're going to get banged up at some point. I hope they don't, but something tells me they are. Number 10, Keenan Allen. Number 9, Jamar Chase. I have to put a rookie on the list because we know every year Najee Harris is going to ball out. Jamar Chase hopefully balls out if Joe Burrow stays healthy. Every year you're going to have a DK Metcalf or a Justin Jefferson. This year it's going to be Jamar Chase. And I think Devontae Smith will be great too with Jalen Hurts. But I think Chase has got a little bit more athleticism and a little bit more smell and knack for the end zone. So Joe Burrow might be able to take the next step in his game with T. Higgins, but he can do it with Jamar Chase as well. Buddies at LSU. Number 8, Allen Robinson. Justin Fields to Allen Robinson. I can't wait to see that combination. One of the more underrated superstar wide receivers in the league with Keenan Allen in the top 10. Number 7, the Titans wide receiver you should have in the list, not named Julio, A.J. Brown. He's the guy that's going to get the targets. He's the guy that's going to get the touchdowns. Tannehill and A.J. Brown, they have the chemistry, and they're a run-first team. So I don't really know what Julio is going to get for, a stat line. 65 to probably 70, grabs. Probably 1,000 to 1,100 yards and probably 8 to 9 touchdowns. And that's if he can stay healthy for the full season. If he can't, then those numbers are going to decrease. But A.J. Brown, to me, he's going to be in the probably 80 to 90 catch range. He's going to have over 1,100 yards, and I can almost guarantee he'll be over 10 touchdowns. A.J. Brown at number 7. From Tampa Bay, number 13, the best wide receiver we've ever had, and he is the man from Texas A&M, Mike Evans. Better than Chris Godwin, but Chris Godwin, like I said, I could have put him in my top 10 as well, but I'm not biased. Love what Mike Evans does from the 20 to the 20, but in the red zone, he's a monster. Look for him and Tom to get back on track again. I'm going for 2, baby. That's what I'm hoping for. Going for 2. Tampa Bay Rams NFC Championship game. Number 5, Justin Jefferson. Double J, not Jeff Jarrett, but Justin Jefferson. Minnesota Vikings. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year, 1,400 yards. No, he should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year, or at least be considered for Offensive Rookie of the Year, because who won it? Justin Herbert did. But Jefferson should have got a little bit of love there. All right, he got the 1,400-yard mark, and he could have got more. And guess what? This year, he will get more. Number 5, Justin Jefferson. Absolutely love him. A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson are going to take DeAndre Hopkins and Julio Jones' spot. Once those guys go out of the top 5, Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown are going in. Big facts. Number 4, another underrated wide receiver in the top 10. Josh Allen got his true number 1, Stephon Diggs. Absolutely love what he can do game in and game out. Look for him to dominate again. He could lead the league in yards. He could lead the league in touchdowns. Stephon Diggs is a monster. He's been a monster since Minnesota, but now he's there with Buffalo. Love him, love him, love him. Stephon Diggs at number 4. Number 3 is probably the number 2 wide receiver overall on the list, but I like these other 2 guys more than this particular player. But this player is going to help Kyler Murray get to the playoffs. We're talking about DeAndre Hopkins and the Arizona Cardinals. J.J. Watt is going to have an impact with Chandler Jones. Who? Chandler Jones. D-Hop is the man. 50-50 balls. He's got it. I love D-Hop's game, but he's getting a little bit older, but he will be one of the reasons that they get to the playoffs this season. Number 3, DeAndre Hopkins. At number 2, he's on the thumbnail, fastest player in the NFL. If Aaron Rodgers leaves to Denver, he's going to be my number 1 player at wide receiver because he's the fastest player in the NFL. But for now, I got to put him at number 2, Tyreek the Freak Hill. And at number 1, Green Bay's very own Davante Adams, the best route runner, not named Keenan Allen. A nice hop, skip, and a jump at the line of scrimmage. You can't stop him, can't stop, won't stop. Number 1, Davante Adams. Jameson Meza, appreciate you. Hope everyone had a great day. Like I said, I worked a super long day today. I was going to take the day off, but even, when you have hard days, 40-foot semi-trailer unloaded like 200 boxes or more by myself, nonstop moving, probably for 2 hours in that semi-truck. I have no energy. I can't feel my arms. I can't feel my legs. But with my energy and my voice, you never would know it. But that's when you have a dream and you grind it out, even when you're tired, and that's what I'm doing today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. My favorite NFL top 10 wide receivers going into 2021. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe, or the Cash App. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, NW Sports Fanatics. Jameson Meza, $5. Bang, my boy. Nathan Dotson, Jurassic Ninja. Love all you guys in the building. I will be back more than likely tomorrow with another show. Love you guys. 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. Those are kind of the windows where I'll typically record. Have a great rest of your Monday. Have a great rest of your week. Stay safe out there. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. NWSF Chain Gang in the building. Have a great night, and I'm out. Peace. Gang.